That's better.
That's better.
Is that better?
That is better.
Okay. I'm just going to pull this back.
Pull it back.
But before I pull it back, I was going to say...
Stop popping the mic, you cunt.
Stop what?
Popping the mic.
Oh, I might pop
it. I'll bring it down.
What about there? Is that...
Yeah, that's good.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for doing all the work, by the way. Technician, listening, you know.
That's why I get paid the big bucks.
Yeah, you do. I do things. I talk to people. I force them to follow us.
You do. I definitely
Clayton.
don't do that.
I forced a girl called Janelle, who I used to teach. Janelle was from UTS. We had a nice conversation on the street. We really got on. I remember that class a lot. It was weird, that class. It was when I came out.
Came out as an artist. Yeah.
As an artist that doesn't do anything. As an artist,
I can attest to that.
Well, I do. Like, I am. That's it. I am an artist. My art is by saying I'm an artist. That's it. Like, it's a manifesto. It's like an unwritten manifesto. Yeah, it's a non-experimental artwork.
If you wrote something, you'd be doing something.
Yeah, and it's all, exactly.
Why would you do that?
Why would you document this? I'm trying to document through people.
By forcing them to follow us.
Yeah, exactly. So I remember saying, I do this now. So you might be one of those people out there.
Forced by Mel.
I say, hey, I've got a podcast. It sounds really bad. I say but I don't include you in this.
Yeah. Thanks.
Genuinely. Literally, people don't remember you.
Fuck off.
No, like, CJ was like, I know it's him, Farrell, my favorite lecturer. Like, you are people's favorite lecturer.
Thanks, Mel. Yes, I'm the opposite. When the random encounter that I have actually had in the last month, someone said, I heard you do a podcast. And I said, yes. And they said, what's it called? And I said, I'm not going to tell you.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. I can't self-promote.
I was thinking about this.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking I'm going to make you business cards.
Oh, yeah, I don't mind that.
I'm going to make you DB10 business. It's just going to say DB10 Spotify on it, right?
Yeah, I like
because
that.
Because people
really
can't spell DB10. Like I give it to them, they put it. This is why I take their phones, right?
How can you not spell DB10?
They go DB and then they write TEN.
Fuck's sake.
And I'm like,
dumb fuckers. We don't want them listening to us.
So I now say DB10 unhinged because it's the first word's unhinged on it, like our unhinged, absurd, like and something else. Yeah. And then
you
they
wrote
smile.
That. There you go. You did write that. Yeah.
I know.
I mean, I came up with DB10, but you came up with unhinged.
Yeah. So I don't know. Is this funny?
Now, no. Get back to Alvin.
Yeah. But are we funny? Because I didn't know what category to pick. Like, I was going to pick comedy.
Yeah, but it's weird. It's
it only gives you
categories.
one.
Yeah. Yeah, and like the other ones are like education or like
I know.
Culture or some shit.
Or art or visual art. Like it's a podcast. There's nothing visual about it.
No.
Right? Why do they call it visual arts for? Like, look at this, like, fucking get with the fucking calendar, the Gregorian
20th
calendar.
century, yeah.
Fucking hell, look at visual arts. Like, where the fuck, art is changed. Like, art is your imagination now. Art isn't even imagination. Art's
is
dead.
Mel doing nothing.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Can't visualize that.
No, and it's not even about documentation anymore. It's the immaterial.
Yeah.
Like the real immaterial.
Yeah.
Like the...
Fucking hell. I just want everyone to know it's very hard working with you.
Is it hard or enjoyable?
Like those things that are enjoyable but are really difficult at the same time. That's what you are.
I'm saying this now, I would like to have a conversation with another person in here. I know you don't want to, and I'm just going to just so I can see if I would enjoy talking to someone else.
Oh, fuck off. This is how you tell me?
Well, you just
air?
you just the one I find this very hard. I find this difficult.
I said enjoyable.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Sorry, I am human. I do have feelings. I know I'm an artist.
Fine, bring someone else in. Let's see what happens.
I'm really fascinated with the Big Bang. Okay.
Fuck, the TV show?
No, I'd have never heard of the TV show. Okay. I'm fascinated by creation. Right?
Fuck. All right.
I'm just
This better
fascinated.
lead to a story time, and not the
No.
story of the fucking formation of the universe.
Okay. So it goes back 18 billion trillion years ago. No, I'm just fascinated, right? When you copy something, it gets destroyed a little bit, you know, blah, blah, blah.
Entropy.
Entropy, that's the word. You've got the word for everything, right? Like the one word that I'm trying to decolonize. So, which is Latin anyway, which was once Greek, which was once Mesopotamian, comes from the Sanskrit.
Which came from the Big Bang.
Yeah, which came from jewelry, which came from Homo sapiens, meaning we started thinking, right, about
Right.
aesthetics. So if you record something over and over again or copy it over and over again, you lose something in the copy.
Correct.
Yeah. And Alvin does this with microphones and digital technology.
Yeah.
So I thought, like, I'm going to test AI. I'm going to make the artwork. I'm just going to put it in and see what it spits out from reading it.
Right.
Which was almost the same, but it did this fucking weird AI weirdness to our faces.
It did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Laura said to me, has Mel swapped our faces, like done like a face off?
No.
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 So that
All I
was-
did was I just said, "Can you you have to prompt something.
Yeah.
You can't you can't even put like a full stop. It will say
Right.
It will say." Anyway, so I just prompted something I can't remember. It said something like, "Do not recreate this. Just keep it exactly the same."
Right. Right.
And it tried to. It was almost exactly the same.
Yeah.
Right, but
yeah.
it gave me a receding hairline,
Yeah,
and
it
it made
made
my
me-
lips fuller. Like I like that. Like it
Yeah,
was
I liked how I looked too, to be honest.
Yeah, it was
I looked like
weird.
I'd been smoking for about 15
Yeah,
years.
yeah.
It's kind of like deepened the creases a bit.
Yeah,
Made me look a bit more manly.
it did. It was like weird. I thought you wouldn't notice. No one said anything except. I mean, you can't say and beep that out. No one said anything except beep. Thank you. Who zoomed in on my face and then your face and then zoomed in on your eyelids because one of your eyelids was like a little bit wobbly.
Oh.
Right.
Well, I do have a bit of a lazy eye.
No, but you don't. Looking at you now, you don't. Right? It was a bit weird. It was like a football eye.
Right.
Because I got that image off your YouTube channel. Like I
Yes,
did a screenshot.
yeah.
Right? And I was like, this is a good image to use, Tim. Did you notice how I put you in front?
I did. Yeah.
I always want to make you happy.
With a butt plug and you behind me.
Yeah. And the
Thanks.
butt plug, whose work is that? Nick Gallo's work, by the
Yeah.
way. So I have to credit them. I just stole it off. I just stole his work off
Good word.
Instagram.
You're
Yeah.
remixing it.
Fucking remixing. I'm appropriating.
Appropriating.
It. Yeah,
Yes.
reappropriating.
Some might say misappropriating.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm just.
What's your fucking point about Alvin?
Yeah, that's what I was doing.
The copy. Right.
I was thinking, can AI do that? Can you put something
Yes.
into AI?
Yeah, and it did.
And recopy something, and will it shoot it out this exact same way? Does it have to do? What did it do to it?
Yeah.
Why did it change the image?
Yeah.
Like
and you told it not
because
to.
I put the image into it. Like you can put images in and say don't do anything, and it tried its best not to.
Yeah.
But
I like that. It had to do some labor. It had to.
it did something.
Yeah.
Like it was like a weird just a weird layer of just weirdness.
Yeah. You know what? That is interesting. I'll pay that.
Thank you. Because I'm not lazy. I don't use fucking artificial intelligence as a lazy way, like people use it as a lazy way.
Yeah.
I really am interested in fucking it up and critiquing it and understanding its energy use and colonial history and the hauntology of it and ontology of it and, all the Donna
Ologies.
Haraways and all the fucking uncanninesses and all the fucking,
Alvins. in there.
Yeah, I try to do that to it. I try to bring something to it.
Yeah.
I'm scared it's learning from me.
It's probably not learning much from you, to be honest.
Okay. It finds me interesting.
Sure.
It does. It
Like
finds
those
me really
AI
interesting.
girlfriends that you can get that tell you that you're
Or
interesting.
what does it have agenda for? There's no agenda to my AI. There's no girl or boy.
It made you look more attractive.
We are.
It is pandering to you.
We are aprosexual. Do you know what that is?
Apricots.
No.
Well, I'm going to talk about sexuality soon.
Okay, good. Let's start.
All right. Mana Hatoum.
Yeah. I love this work.
I love this work too. This is Homebound from 2000. Mana Hatoum is a Palestinian artist. even though that's not often mentioned when Hatoum's work is discussed.
Can I also bring up something? When you said Palestinian artist, this is why I interrupted, right? Do we now use the term black artist, Greek artist, Palestinian artist to reclaim an identity that it's trying to be erased?
Mona Hatoum herself has said similar things, right? About being labelled Palestinian artist.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not so much because of her relation to Palestine, but because she does not like that her work is often reduced to the ongoing conflict.
Yeah.
In that it is about that, but it is also about trauma and therefore not just Palestinian trauma.
Yeah.
It's like theoretically dense in the way that like Adrian Piper's work is not about blackness in public, right? It's about the gaze, which is of course about blackness in public, but it is something more than that, which to me doesn't excuse the white viewer from like reading it only through that perspective and like therefore like excluding themselves from that. And I remember do you remember seeing the big retrospective of the MCA?
Yeah, I did.
It was fucking great.
Yeah. You've said in your lectures, right, a gallery looks like a hospital. You know, in no germs, you know. That's what needs to break is that value system. Do you know what I mean? Art should be fucking interesting. Art is boring, my friend. Like this is why you don't go to art galleries. And this is why Mona's artwork is great in the MCA, because it does that structure. It's like a chair and tables and things on the ground. It's not on the wall, right? But it feels so out of place in an art gallery. Like this is, for me, growing up in the backyard, a Sydney backyard with the grass long, you know, with like Greek music playing out of Easter, like breaking eggs and just like sitting around a table with your singlet on, just these smells of like this nostalgia that we want in an art gallery. Just doesn't go. Like, and Mona will agree with me, right? So to the new director, I love that you're there, but what are you going to do?
Yeah.
And
Maybe we can get her in here.
Huh?
Maybe we can get her in here as a third guest.
I look, and again, this is no personal stabs to, this is a critique to the art world. We need a new art world, right? We need to change the art world. It needs to be more dangerous. We can't bend over to the police, to men's violence.
Well, this work is dangerous. Yeah. Literally dangerous.
Totally.
So this is the Mona Hatoum Homebound from 2000. And it is a dining room table, like a dinner table, fairly like relaxed one, not like a formal one that we would probably remember from the 80s. And it's mostly like metal, and there's a reason for that. And that's because all the implements, so the knives and forks and the colander, etc., are all wired up. We've got wire between them. And then high voltage electricity is passed through the entire dinner set. So if you were to sit down on one of these chairs, you get electrocuted. Current would be passing through you. Because it's badly wired, deliberately badly wired, it occasionally shorts.
Yeah.
So you get these zaps of electricity, of sparks that go across the work. And so these are, of course, unpredictable. You don't know when it's going to happen. Yep. But everyone would know that sound and would know the danger that's associated with that sound. But it's also a smell. And this is what I really like about Mona Hatoum's work. It's always operating on different senses and different levels. And the other one that she often does is fuck with your sense of balance and just like things will slowly move so that you get that kind of slight seasickness around the works themselves. And so for Mona Hatoum in this work, I think it's a really, really good example of like that public-private, that kind of like the domestic setting that is constantly traumatic, right? But the trauma can happen at any moment in time. And you can think about this, and again, I'm going to go back to Lyotard because I constantly I'm rereading Lyotard again. The problem of Marx is that Lyotard addresses is that it doesn't properly account for the psychological, obviously, because it's like pre-Freud, but also or really even like the artist, like the individual who experiences these structures, right? Yeah. It's all about structural change, which will then, of course, change the individual. But what Lyotard does, and what I think a work like this does, is recognize how at that kind of lived experience is identifiable both in the structure and in the person. Here, it could be the dad that comes in and shouts, right? That could be the zap, right? And again, we know what that feels like. Every kid has had that experience. Or it could be an Israeli jet that has broken the sound barrier deliberately low over Gaza.
You mean a fucking British jet?
British jet.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Yeah. Australian jet.
An Australian jet, an American
with
jet.
Parts, yeah.
That could also be it. And they are like both like trauma, like they're both traumatic. They're obviously different sources of trauma, but they are also connected.
Yeah.
And I'm interested in that because it doesn't just flatten it to either like domestic violence or state violence, but they're the same fucking thing. Like they're not the same thing, but they are also the same thing. Yeah. And until we kind of move both of those forward at the same time, and it's sort of like the black artist kind of thing, like, yes, we need to represent black artists in the Art Gallery of New South Wales, and we also need to destroy the structure of the Art Gallery of New South Wales at the same time.
Yeah.
And it is possible to think that paradox.
Yeah.
And that's what I like about Hatoum's work, because I think it does try to do both of those things at the same time.
So the zap, right, in the thing.
Yeah.
For me, it's like work by Jenny, I forgot her name, where it was just a belt, a photograph of a belt. And for her, like, you know, it's just a belt. But for her, it's her father coming home and beating up on her.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And for me, like, I've questioned this. Is it the father beating on a woman or a child? Or is it the fucking colonial system on this immigration, this diaspora that has driven like this intergenerational trauma that then gets perpetuated through the conduit of a belt? Do you know what I mean? The belt is this representation. So the spark is that conduit of the British aeroplane flown by the Israeli IDF soldiers forced into that situation. Do you know what I mean? Like through. So who's the conduit? That's the interesting bit. Is it the spark? That's the interesting point where you just made a point of. I just repeated it for some reason.
But I like that. I think that's something that something that I constantly return to, that the difference between reform and abolition, right? That these are two things which are often put as oppositional. And I just think that there is a way to think both at the same time. That like the reform, as in like it's important to stop showing dead white men and rehang the permanent collection at the Art Gallery of New South Wales. It's also possible to drag those paintings out and burn them on the 4 steps and call that an artwork, right? They are possible to think as both important, and I want to see both happening. Because I also think it is important, like something I also constantly return to, and you have direct experience of this, like it is important for high school students to go in, have a space like the Art Gallery to go in and see that. Right?
For the 1 or 2 Palestinian girls or boys or kids, queer kids, to see that they're being represented on this stage, but the stage is fucking boring now. And the kids see that. Kids are forced into the art gallery from the school structure or their parents. Do you know what I mean? The kids don't want to go to art galleries.
Absolutely.
That's what I mean.
I agree.
They don't want to go to these things. Like I don't want to go to these things.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like we need to abolish it. But it's kind of interesting as a site that the education system is okay with you taking them there. That's interesting to me, right? That it's
I know where you're going with this.
It's a sanctioned space. And that's
to talk about drugs and sex and fucking and male fucking and queerness. But are you allowed to represent that in your HSC work? No. Yeah, this is what I mean. Like we have to abolish this structure. How do we abolish this structure?
Start a podcast.
Critique it, but don't be scared to critique it. Like, why are so many people fucking scared? Today I'm on a box.
Well, the university, and I'd put an art gallery in a similar kind of position, which is like these are particularly the university and potentially the more contemporary art gallery are supposedly sites of critique, right? That's like that. Their job is to perform critiques, to do critiques.
Yeah.
And you can think about that through a kind of like humanist, like even enlightenment logic of like the critique makes us stronger. But the job is to not shy away from critique.
The forefront of this debate that we're talking about is coming out of places like Colombia, right? Because this is where it starts. The critique starts there. And there are there are thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of university students around this globe who are putting their own education at risk, right? Who are putting their own lives at risk. Not lives as in they will be killed, but I'm talking about lives as in their futures. Because when you're 19, 20, 21, 22, you're thinking about the rest of your life. To be selfless and to think about others rather than yourself, rather than your own education, where like you've been institutionalized since you were 5 years old and you've been put to this point. Brave kids out there, brave students who are the forefront of a movement, and they need to collapse the art gallery structure. Like we're talking about art here. I'm going to keep it at art because it's what it's about, and because art is so important, right? Make new places. Do you know what I mean? Create something new. They're old. Museums are dead. Art galleries are dead. I feel like we've had a fight.
Shall we perform normativity? Actually, this is a quote about failure. So let's do it. Because our relationship has just failed. All right, so this is Iago's. But the book's great. Look, and it's still great. All right, let me read the fucking quote then.
Yeah, okay, go.
Although it has frequently been misrecognized as just such a strategy, drawing attention to the public failures of heterosexuality is not in itself an unsettling or destabilizing gesture, as is readily evidenced by the failure of those failings to register significantly against heterosexuality's social value. Far from being the end of the road or even a malfunction, failure is a part of modern heterosexuality's support systems, buoyed by aspiration, consolidation, and optimism, the everyday bricolage of emotional making do. And I like this because it underlines intimacy, and registers of intimacy in heterosexuality have nothing to do with satisfaction, have nothing to do with joy or jouissance or whatever the fuck it's called in French, and everything to do with supporting a national ideology. And so its failures are not only to be expected, because intimacy is not about satisfaction in that sense, but also its failures are to be encouraged, on one hand, because it enshrines male violence within heterosexuality, in that, like, if you fail to have a good time, right, or fail to orgasm, which is like the most common kind of reality, particularly for women in heterosexual relationships, then that failure is fine, right? It's not a problem as such, and it is only so far a problem. Well, it's only so far a problem as in that it is not a problem because it is something that can be mediated. I.e., we can talk about the failure of not being able to orgasm, right? And there's a whole range of media and consumer products that you can buy and like talk to your girlfriends about, and talk to your queer friends about how like your partner can't satisfy you. And it's not a crisis. It's a conversation, right? It's part of like the production of heterosexuality, which actually, as I said, on one hand, allows men to also go out and just fuck other men for satisfaction, but also hides the quiet part, which is that often that failure is not just like a failure of desire or a failure of satisfaction. It's abuse, right? The failure is that I didn't want to have sex and I had sex. That's abuse, right? And so I think that the way within which it services a national duty and be able to like call it a failure services a notion of violence, which is inherent within heterosexual practice, within the kind of garbled norms that emerge out of that coupled form because it's doing all these other duties.
There's an artist I know that does this around monuments.
Yeah, and I keep cutting that out. Yeah. Alexander Brenner.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's the artist. So he did a series of works of fucking his wife in public in front of monuments, like ex-Soviet monuments. Also in art galleries. He shat in front of a Van Gogh and things like that.
That's cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It feels weird saying fucking his wife in public, isn't it? Doesn't it feel weird?
Yeah.
Like when you recounter that.
I don't like that work when it's reduced to that.
Yeah.
The interesting part of that work is that in the video, like these are kind of like excruciating videos, like very early 2000s, so bad like quality. So it's not like it's explicit in any sense.
Yeah.
Similar with like the shit in front of the Van Gogh. Like you have to kind of know that that's kind of what's happening.
Yeah.
But the fucking his wife in public is him failing to fuck his wife in public. And so there's this like attempt at fucking and then just like, fucking whatever. Like it's not going to happen. The failure in public, the public failure, because this is also something I want to talk about. Like obviously straightness is constituted through its own failure.
Yeah.
Right? That's like part of what straightness is. Yeah. But to publicly do that in a way that supposedly having sex in public should be kinky, right? It should be like arousing and like, well, let's like see if we can get away with fucking it. But it's like, no, let's put the camera down in front of this monument and try and fuck and failing. I think that's interesting.
Yeah. 100%. This notion of the public, do you know what I mean? This notion of fucking being such a private thing. Yeah. And this is where the notion of like protecting male violence comes from. It's very private. Looking at the stats that came out last week, women experiencing relationship violence of not just like physical violence, but at least, a couple of times in their life from partners of emotional violence and abuse that's kind of normalized, do you know?
Yep.
Like, this is part of normal culture.
Which is even coded into the failure of sex, right?
Yeah, that's what I meant. This is what I'm trying to get to. Like, trying to masturbate to a monument or to fuck, in public. What's his name? The famous fucking artist, Cicciolina's wife, the guy that
Jeff Koons.
Grew marijuana in his puppy. Koons, yeah. Jeff Koons, right? Like he, like publicly, they fucked. Cicciolina and him fucked in public, these statues of him, which were like these monuments of his not failing. Not failing at art, but failing, right? Total, like if any artist fails, Jeff Koons does, right?
Yeah.
I like how he's very successful at failing.
Yeah, me too.
I kind of like Jeff Koons. Meeting him for a very brief moment was like looking at not a Andy Warhol, but a Salvador Dali for the very first time.
Yeah.
Thinking, how small is that painting? Like I thought Salvador Dali's were like mural sized. They were in books. They're like, wow, like fuck. This is a tiny little painting that's not very well painted. Yeah. Salvador, your aura is deflated.
Yeah.
Meeting Jeff Koons is a small little man with fucking acne scars all over his face. And that makes me like him more because this like American white male who is like actually quite a kooky fucking artist, quite a kooky human being who has like is strange.
Yeah.
I can see why Cicciolina and him liked each other at that age. Do you know what I mean? He's no Adonis. He's an Adonis of art in that sense.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? His muscles are his scars. Do you know what I mean? His ugliness. Because he's fucking one ugly motherfucker. He's still alive, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I'd love to have him in here, talk to him, because I've met him before. Like Tony Albert, who didn't say hello to me and at that time.
Never let it go.
Yeah, but who did? Who's like an amazing human being, an amazing artist. Jeff Koons has got that soft side to me as well. I like Tony and I like Jeff.
Yeah,
they both have names. Like
they do.
Jeff.
They do both have names.
And Jeff Koons. It's kind of, wait a second, Jeff Koons is a weird name, isn't it?
It is.
It's very racist. So just thinking about it. I don't even want to point that out.
Let's just call him Jeff.
Let's just call him Jeff. This is why I call people by their first names, because their second names are just like... Anyway, sorry. I just could jump on. Right. He just kick me off every now and then. Just poop.
I'm trying.
Poop.
Beep. The soft piano music will roll in as I fade Mel out. Like the end of a therapy session.
Yeah.
Right, so as I've already said, what strikes me is this constant framing of heterosexual culture and nationalism, the individual and the family, and the state. So this goes in part to explain why Wilson and others point to the notion of the garbled norms within heterosexual culture, within straightness. Straight men fuck each other, but they're supposedly only interested in women. So why does heterosex seem, on one hand, so repressed and fixed, and yet on the other hand, so flexible and fluid in its practice? To quote again from Sex in Public, thus, when we say that the contemporary United States is saturated by a project of constructing national heterosexuality, we do not mean that national heterosexuality is anything like a simple monoculture. Hegemonies are nothing if not elastic alliances involving dispersed and contradictory strategies for self-maintenance and reproduction. Heterosexual culture achieves much of its metacultural intelligibility through the ideologies and institutions of intimacy. I love this quote because it also just goes to explaining why we're not going to get to like a definition of what straightness is. It is always garbled. It is always elastic and changing. And that is its strength, not its weakness. And it is always being formed through these like institutions of intimacy and failure.
You were talking about this months ago, maybe last year, about straight fluidity.
Yes. Yes. So like
it's got like a link to
I mean, we even have a term for it now. It's like heteroflexible or whatever. Fucking died out with fucking metrosexual and all those kind of fucking terms.
And metrosexual is a very masculine thing. But like, straight, when we say straight, we're looking at like two, it's gendered like male and female, like it's prescribed by both genders, you know what I mean? Like we enter this contract saying this is the patriarchy.
Yeah.
It's just fucking weird.
Which on one level is, and this is something I always explain, and Wilson does this as well, where we tend to like think of queerness as fluid and straightness as fixed. It's like, that's the affect, right? Yeah. Like, in other words, straightness is also very fluid if you look at any of the individual sexual practices or culture, right? There's lots going on there, but it feels oppressive and fixed, and that's what it's trying to do. Whereas queerness may be like even less diverse, but it feels more fluid and free because that's what it's trying to do. So there's like, again, this is the point here, that is operating at an ideological level is where you find the fixed and the fluid. Operating at a daily level of practice, straightness is also very fluid. Anyway, like what I'm interested in this is, as an example of this like strange fluidity, is Pornhub's porn report. So every year they do a porn report, and it's broken down into nationality. And I find this fascinating because Pornhub is mostly straight porn, right? Like it's for straight people. Obviously not entirely, but like that's where most straight people just go, right? Default Google search kind of thing, right? And the fact that it's broken down into nationality, I find really fascinating because it creates this almost like straightness is both universal but also national. So it's like, yes, like these are what all the straight people around the world are watching, but I'm not going to tell you like globally what that is. I'm going to break it down into, this is the most searched term in Australia. This is the most searched term in America. And so we have these like strange like competitions, if you like, both desire and repulsion towards other nations, right? In a very similar kind of racist kind of thing where it's like, yes, you're human, but you're into fucking lactation porn. And you're into like stepsister porn, and you're into cuckold porn or whatever it happens to be, right?
What is cuckold?
Cuckold porn. It's like when you get off on another man fucking your partner. Yeah.
It's weird.
There you go. You just done that. But all of these things are like under the umbrella of straightness. Right?
Yeah, even the word partner is a weird term, right? Sorry.
Yeah. So like this,
I would like to watch someone fuck you. Because this is a partnership,
this is a partner.
Right?
This, that would be, I guess that would be an example.
That would be weird.
I probably need to think about that. But also, so it becomes an
Who's the cuckold then? Sorry, I gotta let this go.
Well, you would still be the cuckold if you were watching me fuck someone else.
So the person watching is the cuckold?
Yes.
I've always wanted to know this. Okay.
Yes, so the person watching.
Because it comes up a lot.
They're not the
word comes up a lot.
Like assuming that the person watching is watching their partner being fucked by someone else. Then they're the cuck.
So is it like a double fantasy? Because obviously you have to consent for someone else to have sex with you. And are you getting off knowing that you're being watched by the person that can't really fulfill you, but you're being fulfilled by someone else? Yes. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know that.
yeah. I mean, there's lots
really
of fucking things going on here, and it is a really good example of the failure of sex, right?
Yeah.
That like it's an acknowledgement that you can't satisfy your partner, but then also it's in a Lacanian sense, it's that knowledge that you can't find your partner attractive until you see someone else find them attractive.
Oh, really? This is really confusing me. Like, I've got like visions of like, you know. It's really confusing me because it's a thing, right?
Yeah.
And it's like,
is
this like a step from like normalizing male violence?
Well, it's a way in which, again, straight men can fuck each other through a woman, right?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
And using the woman's body as an object, you know what I mean? To like, yeah, it's really strange for me.
And it is also, particularly in America, although I'm not assuming not solely in America, there's usually a race element to it as well. Yeah. It's a white couple and it's a black guy.
Yeah.
So it's this, notion from slavery of this, like the potency of blackness and the black male and black, like the white woman desiring the black man. It's mixed into all these fucking horrific kind of things. But yeah, it's a good example of how two men can have sex without touching one another. It's like head bopping in a fucking jazz gig. It's just
wow.
a kind of
I love that
version of that.
Thank you for explaining that to me.
Oh, it's okay.
Yeah.
But within all of this, like I still think that anyway, there's so much like failure going on.
Yeah.
But then also like the fact that these are such varied like sexual practices and fantasies that are like reduced in PornHub to nationalities. Like I find it's like does that mean that I should be interested in, to be a good Australian, I need to be like turned on by what most Australian men find attractive? Like what is the purpose of the porn report? In breaking it down into nationalities?
Because it's like money, right? It's like sex is money. Sex is like, you know, this is attractive now, where this is what we're finding. It's a really weird...
It's finding, but it's also advertising, right?
That's what I mean. Like this objectification where how do we sell our next Chanel bag? You know what I mean? I'm sure the Chanel marketing team is like looking at these statistics, right? And going, wow, let's make it a cuckold bag.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a... I've just...
Merch. TB10 merch. Cuck bags. Coming soon. Something you can wear over your head.
Yeah. It turns you into a nationality.
Oh, God.
Of your desire.
You can like swap nationalities for a night.
Yeah. You know, it can... Yeah. I'm sure we've all... Like, I've always wanted to be white.
Right. We can resist by rejecting not only heterosexuality, but by rejecting the very notion of sexuality itself. Because I think within all of this, like why we might think of like queerness as radical is not necessarily because of its different positions of sexuality, like as in like different identity positions, but rather, and this is what Berlant and Warner talk about, to go back to that slide, which is that sexuality is possessive, right? You know, I identify as straight, right? So it's something that I possess. It's something that comes from within me. And on the right, you have, or the conservative side, you have that like your sexuality is like God-given and it's like normal, right? And if anything else, it's kind of perverted if you're not straight, but it's like comes from God. And on the left, it's a kind of inclusive project of discovering more sexualities. Yeah. And starting to treat them, and I don't know who said this, but I remember like it was semi-outrageous, but precisely the problem, which was it's like sexuality is like a fingerprint. Like we all, it's still like enshrined and stable. Like everyone has a fingerprint, but everyone's is slightly different, right? So that's the kind of point of ultimate inclusion, is that everyone's sexuality is unique, but still something that's possessive. What I find really interesting in Berlant and Warner in that article is that they make the point that and why sexuality is different and fundamentally different from heterosexual culture is that for queer people it's always been public, the subject of public debate, right? Perversion or whatever it happens to be. But also as in queerness has to be found in public, like, or private public, like not, it's not something that appears in front of you. It's something you have to actively work towards, right? So it is something that you have to resist against something in order to get it. And so therefore, and this is their point, that this ties historically, and they in the article, like they link it back to like Greece, interestingly, and Rome, that sex was treated as a transitive verb rather than a proper noun. Like, and so sexuality was treated as a transitive verb rather than a noun or a possessive logic. So what if we were to take sexuality, therefore, as always already in the public domain? And by here, I mean like as a text, as something like outside of copyright, but as a text that you could like go to the library and pick up a sexuality rather than find it in yourself. It's actually like a mode of understanding a moment or a world or an idea. Sort of like picking like a movie to watch. So like with a group, and that depending on who group you are, you might go see a different fucking movie. And so to think of sexuality as external rather than internal, and I don't mean that in a sense of like, does it come nature or nurture? No, I mean literally external, like as a text that helps us like understand our desires and our needs in any one particular moment, and that can always shift and change at any point in time. To me, that's an interesting way of then thinking about the failures of heterosexuality. How do we attack it? Well, we literally treat heterosexuality as something external to us, something that we could pick up and read, but not the text not the Bible that we like, that where we find Jesus inside us.
Something you feel comfortable in, something you feel safe in. So something transient, like you said, which is not a proper noun, or is that what?
That's right, not a proper noun.
Does that still exist in culture, or does that still exist in Greek and Roman text? Because if it's the history of something, right? Would that, obviously it can't now, because obviously like capital is way stronger than, like, language is dominated by capital and you know, economics, right? But the history is still there, right? Is that why it's fluid, do you think?
I think so.
There's a fluidity in it re-emerging?
I think so.
Right now?
Yeah, I think so. I think
because of that history, you can't get rid of a history. It's embedded in it. Which, like, we're trying to destabilize the gallery, right? This whole, we're trying to destabilize male violence, and it's there for us to critique. But it's also just like how sex so often actually manifests, which is like the sex that not the sex that we think is attached to sexuality, but the sex that we have that is enjoyable. Like could be masturbation, like the fantasies that are around that. Like if we refuse to think of them as possessive of my sexuality, i.e. of straightness, it then addresses the problem of the garbled norms, of the fact that of the PornHub national like differences of what sex looks like, right? Of what straight sex looks like. It's like, well, no, they're just all expressions of desire that aren't possible to put under the label of straight. Right? We force it into that because I see myself as straight, therefore whatever I do is straight. It's like, well, no, hold on. If we actually treat sexuality as transitive, then it can shift with the action that we are doing at any one particular point in time. What if we treat nationalism as similarly transitive? If, as I've been trying to talk about, this idea that, you know, like the family or the heterosexual unit then jumps up to the nation state, heterosexual unit that identifies within themselves as a person as straight, right? Despite the fact that all the different things are actually occurring within that relationship or not occurring, but a fantasy is what could occur in that relationship. If we disassociate or separate the notion of like sexuality as a fingerprint, as something that is unique and fixed within us as a body, it's coming from like internal, as something that we claim as part of an identity, and we treat it as transitive, therefore jump up to the national scale and likewise treat nationalism as something that's transitive. In other words, like, I'm not Tim Gregory, Australian citizen with an Australian passport, but I'm a human of transitive sexuality and transitive nationality. Not transnational in that I can get a visa to go anywhere, but I can pick nationality in the same way one might pick sexuality. And both of those things sound problematic, right? Like, and I get it, right? I get why, like, oh, I'm choosing to be Greek today, right? Like, fuck off, you're a white cunt. No, but this is interesting, right? Because I have gone, you don't, like, I'm not making a mockery of this, but it is. I have started calling everyone cuz, right? Because I hear it as a street thing, like it's you know, bringing back that whole, you know, street lingo, Western Sydney lingo, like, hey cuz, do you know what I mean? Or like, I don't know what nationalities say that, do you know what I mean? But you hear it, right? Have you heard of that term? It's a very Aussie thing, right? If you live in Australia, like, hey cuz, cuz, right? Oh, that was good. That was good.
Okay.
I love that. Hey, cuz. But calling like other people that would not respond to cuz, just like, because it's a very male to male thing. It's really weird. But like if you call like, a woman cuz or like, hey, cuz, hey, cuz in that thing. And I was called out on it. Like, you're not my cousin. They go, no, deep down, we're all cousins. We are all cousins, right? Yeah. It can we might be like 1/1,000,000th of a cousin, but we're cousins.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's
exactly.
like
that's the transitive, right?
That's the transitive.
So, I mean, the other way of putting that is like, we should all fuck our cousins.
Yeah.
That's
what we're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I literally mean. That's the transitive.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's all fuck our cousins. I was really attracted to my first cousin when I was younger.
So was I. Do I want to talk about this? I guess the only thing this was going to be a counter reading of the bathroom debates. I guess the one thing I wanted to say was that if, as I said earlier, if we think of public space as defined as the space in which men can fuck each other, right?
Yeah.
Then I find toilets as an interesting example of that. Not only because they are like the stereotype of the beat, right? Of a space where men can fuck each other. They are also, at the same time, not considered a space where women fuck each other. And I actually think the very installation of gendered toilets in public spaces is the point at which men can't just fuck each other anywhere in public, because what a gendered toilet in public means is that women are being allowed to enter public under certain conditions. The right type of women are allowed to enter public under the right types of conditions, which in Sydney wasn't until 1910.
Yeah.
So even the very notion of gendered toilets is relatively recent in public space, right? In public space. And the first in 1870s in Paris.
That callous work, is it Castle's work?
Castle's work.
Castle's work.
Yeah, the piss work.
Pissing in that cube for 170 days or something like that.
Yeah.
Until that Trump administration from 2016, the first term.
Yeah.
Who abolished the trans toilets. Brilliant work. Just wanted people to Google it and have a look at that one.
Yeah. Fantastic work. I think what we can read again, reading it not through the obvious violence towards trans people, of which it is, but rather what is the panic of the white man? It's precisely because of what those white men can't admit, which is that I'm fucking in the toilet, and so I'm scared that you're going to take that knowledge, that male knowledge, into the women's toilet, right? And so there's this it's to your point again, counter reading, not so much sex could be happening in the women's toilets. And that's a horrible thing. It's more no, sex could be happening in the women's toilets. That's a horrible thing because it could lead to liberation, right? Yeah. We're the ones that get to fuck in public. Women don't get to fuck in public. That's the knowledge, that's the fear of what might being transferred across that divide. And I think that's something, again, always read it towards not the object that's being oppressed, which we should always do that reading, but why is the oppressor so fucking fixated on it? What are they repressing in themselves? What is the violence that they're, or the desire that they're currently thinking is mine, and I don't want to share it. I don't want anyone to know, right? I don't want you to walk out of the men's bathroom, go into the women's and tell all the women what we've been doing.
Yeah.
I think there's something in that is worth considering and thinking about the histories of bathrooms as sites of fucking, as something that is not something to do with trans people, but to do with men.
Or to do with that patriarchal system, right? Where do women have sex? I like that. It's we don't talk about where women have sex because it's not public, right? Mm-hmm. We don't want that as public knowledge. Mm-hmm. So we keep it out of these institutions.
Yeah.
We keep it out off TV. Or women viewing this, women being the viewer of men having sex. David Bowie's pops up into this world, starts going to New York, right, meeting with who's a heteronormative straight man but has queer points because he's not threatening.
Yeah.
He's not a threatening sexual, he's questioning the whole heteronormative, like dressing up as a fucking weirdo. Do you know what I mean? At the time, right?
Yeah.
So it brings that into pop culture.
Yeah.
Brings where do women have sex in pop culture? I feel safe having sex with someone that looks like David Bowie because it's not the heteronormative body. It's not the, it's not the straight guys fucking.
Yeah.
It's not the football players, right?
Yeah.
It's not the violence that women are experiencing constantly, every single day, every moment, walking out of the public space onto a public space, you know?
Yeah. So I find,
I should write books. But the glory hole, like the boundary, the wall that you cannot see the guy is the dildo. The penis becomes the dildo. It becomes an object to fuck. Right. Rather than the guy
fucking object.
Rather without the violence. I can do whatever I want with this cock. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Which is like the glory hole again is a really interesting notion because, as you said, it detaches the cock. It treats it as a dildo, and it is also like an object to be secluded. So like that's like the opposite of thinking about like penetration and penetrative like straightness. Is the notion of seclusion, which is this idea of like covering something or going over something, which is what you do in a glory hole, right? Because the wall stops penetration. You on the other side have to seclude the object that comes through the wall. And so like the glory hole is like a queer hole that is inclusive of gay, lesbian, and queer and trans people. Like I think it is an increasingly interesting sexual hole against like this history of straight men fucking.
But it's been adopted in porn, right? Like it's been adopted in straight porn. It's been adopted in, you know what I mean? It's really weird how like the objectification and the naughtiness of the whole.
So anyway, yes. So that I just wanted to do like a sort of slight counter reading of
I love that. So where do women have sex in public?
Of course, women do. Right. Women have sex in public all the time. But as you also say, it has to be private. It has to be like, it's not part constitutive of a public in the same way that men fucking in public is constitutive of a public. And so in that way, it's not public. If you mean where do women fuck not in privatized space.
What's the word? Like we got beats, right? But we think of men.
Yeah, exactly, right? So that's right? That's an open question. And in fact, that's what, like, bring up Laura, that was what her PhD, her honours paper was about. Like, where are the lesbian glory holes, right? Or where are the lesbian sex on premises sites? And part of that history she looks back at, this also has to do with the fact that, like, the sites where men could fuck each other in the like 70s and 80s in Sydney were, like, you know, retail areas where you would have to get, like, a loan or a bank, like, a surety to, like, open a shop or something like that, and that women just couldn't do that, right, without the signature of a man as well. And so, like, we're talking about a very recent, like, even possibility of being able to, like, have a site in Sydney where you could do that, right? And even then, it also corresponds to the fact that, like, of massive increases in rent and in, you know, like, it just becomes, like, almost impossible. And so how can, not just women, but anything other than a straight man, what is the act of fucking in public, masturbating in public, as an act of, like, of reclaiming public space, right? That, to me, is a really interesting thing. Like, we can fuck protest our way into a different type of public. If public space is constituted by the notion of where men can fuck, then let's fight them on that, right? It's not just about, like, who can be heard in public or who can walk down the street in public. It's also who can fuck in public. And that's part of the contestation that needs to occur.
Can we put this episode on PornHub? Is it hard to put things on PornHub?
It is now. Post 2020, it is,
Because PornHub is like the Spotify of music now. Porn, you know, for porn. It's the place to go. Like, they own all porn, right?
Well, MindGeek do, who are the parent company of PornHub, but yes.
So you do need, like, a publisher? Like, I can't just go YouTube.
No. So there's a bunch of hoops that you need to pass in order to put anything on PornHub. It's because you could read my fucking article on it if you really.
Have you got an article on it?
On the authentication methods that PornHub use for uploaders. 2020 is when they brought a lot of this stuff in, and while this isn't the reason, it is an interesting point that in the first time that Trump ran for office in 2017, PornHub became a major site for Trump propaganda in that people were just uploading Trump speeches
Okay.
onto Pornhub.
Yeah.
And they weren't being flagged, and they were just, it was an avenue for advertising. Well, it wasn't advertising, but it was people just uploading his speeches, right? And so it became a site of like one of the most important sites of Trump's capacity to get to the public was Pornhub.
Yeah.
Particularly for his audience, right? Makes sense. After 2020, Pornhub becomes, interestingly, it deletes 70% of its content.
Yeah.
It's the biggest deletion of porn ever in the history of the world. Gone, disappeared.
Yeah.
Because it didn't meet those new authentication standards. And this happened overnight.
Yeah.
And it happened purely because Visa and MasterCard were threatening to remove support for Pornhub. So they were about to lose all income.
Yeah.
So they did it, and they did it very quickly. And they thought at the time this was like crisis for Pornhub, that this would end Pornhub. The opposite happened. It went from about the 12th to 13th most visited site in the world to the 4th most visited site in the world over 2 years. And that is with a dramatically reduced amount of material. And one of the reasons for this is like it is now the site of good sex in national heterosex. I really enjoyed doing it at your place.
Yeah.
So that was really cool.
Yeah.
And it felt nice. It felt good. The idea of doing it at one of our listeners' place, or just fucking anyone's living room, like their actual living room, and potentially having people, inviting people into
That's cool.
That's fucking cool.
That's cool.
To me, because in Russia there was that movement called apartment art, and it was because there were no galleries, or you couldn't show radical work in galleries, right? And so people would just invite people over and have stuff hanging on the wall, because it's just like art on people's walls.
Yeah, I like that.
There's something in that I'm not talking about radicality, but it just makes me feel good.
No, I like that, and I feel like that's what we should do. This is the whole moving.
Well, maybe
through,
it's a movement through that,
towards there. So if anyone wants to invite us over your house, please leave
your name and number after the beep.
Yeah, no, just let us know. Because you
well,
know
let Mel
us.
know, because
let me know. Or let Tim know through me.
I'll let Mel know if you let me know.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be really good. Like anywhere. Like we can do it anywhere. Just
you can do it at your parents' house.
It doesn't have to be a house too. It's something that you give us permission to do it in.
Yeah.
In your car.
Yeah.
While you're driving us.
Yeah.
Right? Not on the bus, because that's a public space.
Yep.
And Tim's afraid of doing things on public spaces. But
fuck off. I am.
Yeah. But I get it.
Yeah, I'll get there.
Yeah. Okay.
We have to have sex in private before we have sex in public.
Let's make this into a real let's transform what we're doing. We've been talking about it for a whole year and a half, and I don't think it has. It kind of has.
Yeah.
And it's like interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do it.
All right.
Let's
see.
Oh, that was terrible.
Yeah, terrible.
That's why I like failing is good.
Failure.